This is my cat. This is Elphaba. She'll probably pop up a lot in these things. She's an alright cat. Sometimes she pees places. That's not cool. Say hello to the world, Elphaba. Okay, goodbye. Hey everyone, my name is Duncan Lutz. I'm a software engineer. I've been a software engineer for about a year and a half now professionally. And today I'm going to tell you the story of how I got 2 job offers in 1 week for my first software engineering job, and what strategies you can use from that story to get your own first software engineering job. Becoming a software engineer is hard. Software engineering tends to be the magical place that everybody wants to go to. There's a lot of money in it. There's the cool perks, and you get to work from home, or you get the office where they feed you all the meals and blah, blah, blah. And there's a good chunk of content online that's telling you that it's super easy to get into software engineering, and all you got to do is learn JavaScript, and then you can go and make $250,000 and work at Google. And maybe that's true for some people, but at least I found that when I went and started trying to get into the career, that a lot of that was exaggerated, and it felt very difficult, and it was kind of discouraging. And so today I wanted to kind of talk about the 2 main methods that I used, and kind of the 2 main methods that I see to getting a job in software engineering. So let's go way back. 2021. I'm working at a startup as a video editor and motion graphics artist. December of 2021 comes, and I start to feel a little bit questionable about my job position. It was a startup, or I ended up being correct, because within a couple months, like, all of the executives left and they ran out of money. And so at the time I really was focusing on either finding a new job or going to a different career, in this case software engineering. I managed to find a job working for my uncle, and he gave me a job as a web developer and marketing guy. So my job was to build their website. And then comes the real challenge. So this was a web developer position. I got in a little bit easier because it was my uncle. But now it's time to go and find a real software job. So my job as the web developer had a 6-month contract on it. From March to July, all I was doing was programming. Every little bit of my spare time I could squeeze out on programming. I was spending 4 or 5 hours in extra time a day programming, learning React and JavaScript and TypeScript and Python and all of this stuff. End of July comes around. I reach out to a friend. He was the CTO at the startup that I worked at the beginning of this story. And I ask him just to go over my resume. And as we're going, he kind of gives me some tips, and I'm sending resumes off, and eventually I find a job, and it's about 10 minutes away from me. It's hybrid work. It's a junior position. I applied to it. It's a React gig. So I apply on a Sunday. On Monday, they reach out to me to confirm that I'm okay. They say the salary's $60,000. Is that okay? That's great. At the time, it was like double what I was making at the web developer gig. They say, okay, when can you do a short phone call interview with our more senior developers? I said, as soon as you can. They said, what about in an hour? So, okay, I went and took a call in my car. I got on my lunch break late. I went and took a call in my car for this programming gig. I talked to these guys. We kind of banter. It's all nice and fun. Okay. Within another hour, they reach out to me again. They said, can you come in for an interview with the CEO tomorrow, the president and the CEO? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll make it work. So I take the day off the next day. I go in. So one of the pieces of advice I can give you is I did bring cookies for the office. The thing is, a lot of the time, these smaller companies, they'll kind of talk as a group. So like, what did you guys think of Duncan when he came in? Like, oh, I thought he was great, and he brought cookies, and that's a big plus. I mean, anything you can do to make yourself stand out in their mind is always a big plus. And then the next day, they reached back out again and said, hey, would you like a job? Yes, that's great. So the first route in my brain to getting a software engineering job is the shorter term and the harder one, and that's grinding job applications. Unfortunately, in the world that we're in, a lot of the job posting process is automated. And what that leads to is you'll find that you'll apply to jobs that they feel a little weird. Maybe they just like look old, or you're seeing a lot of them. And applying to those sometimes isn't a bad thing. I certainly did. But often those are old postings that some automated system is keeping them up on Google or on Indeed or whatever, and you'll never hear back from any of them. And that sucks, because you spend a lot of time filling out these things and including your resume and maybe writing up a CV and all of that stuff. And this will work. Sometimes it's really hard though. And so my advice in that kind of pursuit is you just have to work as hard as you can. If you're a junior, you're looking for a junior position, unfortunately they look for higher level skills. I mean, they want the best bang for their buck. If they can pay somebody a junior salary when they're maybe closer to a mid-level, I certainly wasn't at the time. I don't think a mid-level developer, but I was on the upper end of junior already. I was very familiar with the ecosystem, and so you have to work really hard in order to stand out from the group in that case. And it does suck, because the best way to learn, in my experience, is on the job. When somebody's paying you to go and learn these things, it's really easy to dedicate the time to do it. But in order to get the job that'll pay you to do it, you have to have a certain amount of experience. So in my case, I just worked my ass off for as long as I could. That is a valid route. There are people who apply to 500 jobs and don't get interviews. There are people who apply to 50 jobs and do get a job, or 10 jobs and do get a job. I was one of those lucky people who I applied to maybe like 30, 40 jobs within a month, and I got an offer. So I said there were two routes at the beginning of this video. That was the first one, just applying to things, hustling, building your skills, being able to demonstrate your skills to people. Route 2, and how I got my second job offer in the same week for my first software engineering job. So let's go back to my friend, CTO at the last company I worked at, sent him my resume and he looked over it for me. So I reached out to him. I let him know, hey, thanks so much, man. I got a job offer at this place. I'm gonna be doing this, that, and the other thing. And within about, I think it was the same day, he called me, said, hey, would you be interested in working at my company? I was like, sure, if you can beat the salary, is the only thing. So his company was fully remote. It was a different path than the first job. And so that same day or the next day, I don't remember exactly, but he said, you're gonna talk to the president of software engineering here. You're gonna do an interview and then we'll go from there. I went and talked to him and he said very positive things. And so he sent me on to the next guy. I talked to who would be my manager, and we did a code test and a basic interview, technical interview. I passed all of that, and I got a call that said, hey, we're gonna beat your salary, but it's fully remote. You get a lot better benefits. And so at the end of the day, I ended up going with my friend's company. I got to go work with my buddy. So the second real route to getting a job is much longer term, but it's gonna be better for you in the long run, and that's networking. The only reason that I got that second job interview is because I knew somebody in the industry and I talked to them and I could demonstrate my skills. But having friends in the industry in the long term is what is going to get you more jobs, or is at least going to get you higher quality jobs. I get to work with my friend. The company culture is really cool. I get some really cool perks, and I think that that's probably the better method to getting a job is networking. Now, I know if you're watching this video, probably that's not what you want to hear, because you're Googling around how to do it. You want a job tomorrow. I've been exactly where you are right now. I did this exact thing. I understand. But going to networking events, talking to people, just making friends who are software engineers, that's a longer term strategy. Probably it's not going to pay off immediately. It could. You could go to a networking event and have somebody say, hey, I really like you, come apply for my job. But most likely it's a long-term play. Meeting more people and offering opportunities to more people, the better citizen that you are in the community, the better people will be back to you. As long as you're nice and you are easy to work with and you know what you're doing and you're trying, those opportunities will come to you eventually. It's not really what you're doing right now. So if you're wanting to get into the industry right now, option 1 is there for you. Go work your ass off. Spend as much time as you can learning. Specifically, you should build projects of your own. It's really easy to get caught in, people call it tutorial hell. It's really easy to get stuck there. If you're following step by step how to do something, you're never gonna learn how to actually build something. I would suggest building a full stack project of some kind, and it doesn't have to be crazy. I think that even if you're a front-end developer or you want to focus on the front end, learning some back-end stuff is very positive because you kind of get a better idea of just how things work. And so when you're interacting with APIs and you're at work and you have to talk with the back-end guys about what we're doing, then you kind of have a better idea of how these things work. If you need to Google something, how to do one specific thing, or how people manage authentication state or something, like get some ideas of how other people handle things, it's totally fine. But what you shouldn't be doing is following a recipe. So in summary, go learn a bunch of shit, go build a bunch of shit, work your ass off, apply to as many jobs as you can. And then second, go meet people, go talk to people, work with them on projects, even if they're cheap or free. As you do that, you're gonna be able to find that job that you're looking for. Maybe not the answer you wanted, but I think it's the right answer. So that's what I got. If you liked this, like it. I'm not very good at this part. Hold on, let me get my cat. Elfie, what do you have to say to the audience? Yeah, that's about what I thought. If you like Alphaba, or if you like the content, like and subscribe, and you can follow me on social medias. Link in the description. Yeah, I'm done with this. Peace. I'm gonna put my cat back in the box. Here you go. Sorry, I needed you for content.